Hello, I've got a rather odd setup this evening for my camera because I'm in the bathroom talking to myself in front of the mirror, which is a rather odd thing to do. And the oddest thing yet is that I'm recommending that you might want to give this a try as well. As I mentioned last week, and people asked me to follow up on, there's a technique that I might call mirror talking or mirror conversation that you could probably use with any method that works with dialogues that you've been learning and practicing for a while, but it really works admirably well for the sort of the finishing touch if you've been studying a language with an Assimil manual, which has about 100 lessons, most of them, and the majority of those are dialogues. And I have recommended that you might want to use the technique that they describe, going through it in waves, a first wave and a second wave, translating into and from the language, or you might want to do it the way that I've recommended in other videos, where you shadow the audio material repeatedly and you copy the whole thing out, scriptorium, after you have studied the meaning of it. And so depending on how much time a day you've been giving a book like this, if you've been giving 15 minutes a day, it might take you a year to get through it. If you have done an hour a day, you might get through a book like this in 3 months, but you'll have spent a lot of time going over this material. And when you have gone over it repeatedly the way that I suggest, ultimately what you're going to end up doing is what I call internalizing it. It's not quite the same thing as memorizing. I mean, memorizing is when you make a conscious effort to know something by heart that's worth knowing by heart. It's worth memorizing prayers and poems, but not dialogues from a grammar book, a language teaching manual. But by repeating them over and over again, you do come to know them, and given a prompt, you should be able to speak them. So this final finishing touch that I recommend involves taking the book with you, again, after you have been studying it for many months, gone over it in cycles, understood the content, copied it out by hand, listened to and repeated with, shadowed it multiple times. And so you should be quite familiar with the material. But if you have been teaching yourself a language like this, by definition, if you're teaching yourself, you probably don't necessarily know somebody that you can speak it with. And you've been speaking aloud while you're shadowing, but you haven't really gotten any actual practice speaking to somebody in the language. And so if you try to make the jump from using this to going to do that, that can be kind of a long leap. But doing what I'm going to show you right now is a way to make that a bit easier. So again, after you have internalized the material, you pretty much know the content of it. What you want to do is you want to come in front of a mirror and you want to stand up in front of it and talk about it. So standing up is important because most of the time we're sitting, and when we sit and we have a book in front of us, or maybe we've got it on a phone and we're looking at a computer, it's very easy to hunch over and be kind of like this. Of course, you can hunch over when you're standing too, but it's easier to make an effort to stand up straight, which clears your whole vocal tract and your lungs and everything, and enables you to speak out in a loud and clear, nice voice, which is what you need to do to be understood in conversation. So you want to be really able to speak as loudly and clearly, enunciate and articulate as much as you possibly can. And it's just easier to do that when you're standing straight than it is when you're sitting hunched over. You want to come in front of a mirror because when you have a conversation with somebody, we have phone calls, but most of our conversations are face-to-face. And when you have a face-to-face conversation, you can see the other person's expressions, reactions, you can use some hand gestures and just make it a lot more alive. And so you're not another person, but when you look at yourself in a mirror and you see yourself in a mirror, that's a pretty close approximation of it. And so again, it is odd to stand. Getting used to shadowing was probably odd for you. Sitting in a chair or saying something aloud is also kind of odd for you. But getting used to practicing with somebody, talking to somebody face in the face, looking at yourself and talking to yourself is a good approximation, imitation of that. It enables you to see if you are opening your mouth and articulating widely, or if you're mumbling, and enables you to kind of role play the dialogue and get it going and see the expressions that you do with it. So again, you want to have basically spent many months already working through the entire content of this. I would not recommend that you do this early on because you don't want to be reading from this. What I recommend is that you want to take the book with you and you want to kind of hold it at waist level. I can't see it in the camera here, but if I come to the mirror that should be showing up here, you want to have it kind of at waist level so you can use this as a prompt. You can look down if you need it, if you need to check something, what you're going on. But you don't want to be looking at the book. You want to be looking at your own face in the mirror. You want to be looking at the mirror image of yourself. And so you're seeing your own expressions and talking to yourself. So I've got a dialogue here. This is Assimil's Russisch ohne Mühe. It's a textbook for learning German, learning Russian by German, but I'll just tell you what the dialogue says in English so everybody can understand it. The dialogue is starts out one person says, "Oh, Nikolai Ivanovich is going to the theater tomorrow and he has a ticket for me." And the other person says, "Oh, that means you're going to the theater? What are they showing tomorrow?" And the first person says, "I'm not sure, I don't know, but Nikolai says that there's an actor there who's really, really good, and it seems as if the role was like made just for this actor." And then the second person says, "Oh, okay, so, and what are you doing today?" And the first person says, "Today my sister's expecting me. I'm going to have lunch at her place." And then the second person says, That's too bad. I've heard that you play tennis really well, and I've been wanting to play a game with you for a long time, have a match with you." And then the other person says, "Oh, I'd love to play with you too, but I'm sorry, I just can't today. I don't have time." And then the other guy says, "Well, okay, too bad. That's really a shame, but what can you do? Oh, well, never mind. Another day. We can do it another time." So that's the dialogue that you have internalized by, again, copying it out by hand, scriptorium, shadowing it multiple times, actually studying and learning a lesson, going through it in cycles. So now that you know it, but you've only practiced it sort of in terms of the grammar, in terms of the writing system, in terms of all this, the time has come to try to actually speak that. So again, you want to stand up, hold the book at waist level, and it's kind of helpful, I found. Again, all of this, any method, suggestion, give it a try. Do it the way that I'm suggesting, and then if it seems like it's working, tweak it, make it do other things. There's nothing written in stone that you have to do it a particular way. Hold the book at waist level so you're not looking at it, but you're looking at your own image. And try to have the dialogue. And I found, as I said, there's two people talking. I found that it's helpful to turn from side to side when you're doing the different people. And often, particularly if the lines are a little bit longer, so you're not passing the book back and forth continuously, but to hold the book in one hand and gesture with this or the other way, and then hold the book in the other hand and do the other person. So this gives a feel of being a different person. So I think that there are basically three ways that you want to do this, and they're sort of successive. The first way, the first time you do it, the first couple of times you do it, you just want to make sure that you really know the dialogue. So you want to be pretty accurate about saying what they say here. You don't want to stumble. You don't want to miss things. You don't want to certainly get any grammar wrong or not know what you're saying. So you want to try to say the dialogue that you could read it if you read it, but you want to not read it. You want to get the prompt. Oh, I remember this dialogue, and now I'm going to actually try to say it. So I'm going to say over here, "Hey, Nikolai Ivanovich is going to the theater tomorrow, and he has a ticket for me." "Oh, that means you're going to the theater. Well, what are they playing tomorrow?" "I'm not really sure, but he says that there's an actor who's really good, and it's like the role was made just for him." "Oh, okay, that sounds great. Well, what are you doing today?" Today, my sister's expecting me. I'm going to have lunch at her house." "Oh, that's a shame. I heard that you play tennis really well, and I want to have a match with you." "Well, I'd love to play with you too, but I'm sorry, I just can't today. I don't have time." "Oh, that's really a shame. Oh well, too bad. Nothing we can do about it, but hey, we'll do it another time, okay?" So that, I just repeated the dialogue pretty much exactly the way it is. So once I know that I can do that, I don't want to worry about doing it that much. I want to sort of ad lib. I want to sort of take some changes and make a few changes if I possibly can, depending on my overall knowledge of vocabulary and my comfort making grammatical changes and things. So I might want to have a dialogue kind of like this, just make some changes. Hey, I heard you're going to the opera tomorrow, and Nikolai Ivanich is going to the opera tomorrow, and he has a ticket for you? That's right. Yeah, he's got a ticket, and I'm really excited about going. Well, what are they playing? I don't know what they're playing, but there's a singer, and she's really good, and I'm just happy to hear her no matter what she sings. Well, that sounds great. What are you doing this evening? I'm going to have dinner at my brother's house. He's having a big party, and it's a nice dinner party, and I'm going to go over there. Oh, that's too bad. You know, I've been wanting to play chess with you. Everybody says you play chess really well. Is that true? Yeah, I'm pretty good, and I'd love to play with you too, but I just don't have time today. Well, okay. How about we do it next week? Sure thing. Next Saturday. Let's do it. So I took the dialogue and I made a variation of it and sort of did that. And that would be the second stage. The third stage might be to ad lib or to do something a little bit different, sort of expand on it, not just change a few things, but use this and sort of go on beyond it. So you might want to say something like this. Nikolai Ivanovich is going to the theater tomorrow and he has a ticket for me. Oh, so you're going to the theater? I'd love to go too. Do you think you might have a ticket for me? I don't know, but we can ask him. That's great. At any rate, what are they playing? I'm not so sure, but there's this really great actress, and no matter what she plays, I love watching her, so I'm going to go just for that. I love her too. I sure hope they have a ticket for me. At any rate, what else are you doing today? Wait, that's tomorrow. What are you doing today? Oh, I don't know. I'm not doing anything very much. Well, hey, I heard that you play you play the violin. Is that right? I do indeed. Oh, well, I play the cello, and I've been wanting to have a duet. Would you like to play some music with me? That would be fantastic. What kind of music do you want to play? Oh, I like Rimsky-Korsakov. Me too. Hey, do you want to play this sonata? Yeah, let's do that tonight. So by taking the dialogue, giving yourself the idea of the start of the talk, and then doing some wide variation ad lib on it after you've gone through the steps of initially, again, actually learning it by doing the book, copying it out, shadowing it, speaking it pretty much exactly as it said, then just changing a few words, and then expanding on the dialogue and doing something more with it. Having the experience of looking at another person, yourself, in the face, seeing your reaction, seeing some gestures, maybe using some different voices as an actor or an actress might do that to read that, and just getting the practice is a way, after you have internalized this material, to actually bring it alive a little bit more. So if you have worked through an Assimil manual, give it a try and see if that works for you. And if so, I'm very happy to have helped. Thank you.